Hey YouTube, it's Laura Reines, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about one of my more radical Wednesday appropriate ideas. And what I wanted to talk to you about was the idea or the notion that people may have that if you adopt a child, especially if you adopt a child of another race or a culture that's different from your own, that that child is somehow destined to have mental or emotional problems. And I really want to attack that today, um, prefaced by I'm going to share with you what I know from my own personal experience as an adoptee, but also what I know as a counselor and as a mental health professional. Now, there might be some of you out there in either ethnic community that might not agree with what I'm saying. And to that, I'm saying it's Radical Wednesday, and I'm just presenting an idea that is probably just exactly that, radical. So the first thing I want to say is one thing that we know to be true is we know that there is an interaction between genetics and the environment, and that is sometimes called the nature-nurture controversy or the nature-nurture debate. And the controversy that psychologists are dealing with is whether it is more our nature, our genes, our traits, our biology that affect who we are, that affect mental illness, that affect our emotions, our potential to learn, all sorts of different qualities. But whether it's more our genetics or biology that affect that, or whether it is in fact something within our environment that affects that. And the reason it's still considered a controversy or a debate is because there hasn't been a response or an answer yet. This is still something that's hotly debated. And I tend to take the stance that it is a little bit of both. And there is something called gene and environment interaction. And basically, in a nutshell, let's take the case of someone who's adopted. And people want to say, you know, if you adopt a child of a race other than your own, it's almost a given that they're going to have emotional problems. They're going to be depressed. They're going to have major self-esteem issues, etc. So is that in fact caused by the adoption? Or is there something else in that child's gene pool or in their history that might also come into play? The answer is yes. It's a little bit of both. What science and research has found is that a person has maybe a gene for something like depression, for example. What we know as scientists is that that is heritable, which means that there is a genetic link to certain disorders or traits such as depression. I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm saying that research is showing that there is some type of a genetic link. So there's the genetic part. So I may have been adopted and I may have been genetically predisposed to depression or to anxiety or to, you know, a whole host of other personality or temperament characteristics. However, unless my environment brings about circumstances or a certain set of circumstances that I uniquely react to, I might never, ever display the traits of depression, or I might never, ever be diagnosed as being depressed. So what I'm saying is it's not entirely fair to say that a child who is adopted will for sure have mental problems. What we know from past experience is a lot of adopted children do have some type of emotional illness, or not illness, but emotional challenges or just difficulties that maybe they encounter. But in order for that to be expressed, there have to be kind of two things working there. There needs to be the genetic predisposition to anxiety, depression, nervousness, learning disability, whatever, but there also needs to be an environmental interaction. So for those of you who are adoptive parents considering adoption, have already adopted, whether it's inside your race, outside your race, whatever, what you can do, you cannot control the genetic disposition that your child might have. That's been decided a long time ago. But what you can control or help to control is the environment in which they grow up. You can't prevent everything as a parent. I have 4 children, and I would very much like to prevent anything negative from ever happening to them or anything that might threaten them somehow. I can't do it. But I can do all that I can to ensure that they have a safe environment, that it's a healthy environment for them to grow up in, that I do all I can to ensure that we have healthy communication, and that I'm very open and honest with my children so that if they ever are feeling a certain way, God willing, they'll want to come to me and talk about it. So is it entirely a guarantee that if you're adopted, your child's going to have problems? No. Is it a guarantee that if you adopt a child outside of your race, they're going to have problems? No. I had my share of challenges being a transracial adoptee, most definitely. But is it only because I was adopted? I'm not sure that that's the case. So I respectfully submit that it has to be the certain interaction between one's gene pool, the things that they're inheriting, and their environment. Any one of us could be depressed on any given day, so I don't know that it's entirely fair to pin that only on adopted children. How many of you out there watching this have ever had your periods of depression or your darker days? I know I certainly have. So again, maybe not as emotionally charged as I thought, but I just wanted to put that out there because I know that that's something that adoptive parents have talked to me and said, I've heard that adopted children are destined to have emotional problems. Is that true, regardless of if they're transracially adopted or not? And to that I would say, first of all, everybody's an individual, so no hate mail about how I'm trying to speak for everyone, because I'm truly not. I'm just talking about my experiences and what I know as psychologist, or as a psychologist, that research is showing. So I welcome comments, questions. I can delve into this deeper if there's a request for it. But the bottom line is there have to be a whole bunch of factors coming into play in order for someone to have those mental or emotional issues. And then again, like I said, any one of us could probably be termed depressed or down in the dumps on any one given day. So that's what I have to say about that for Radical Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every subscriber, and every comment. And if there's something you would like me to talk about on Radical Wednesday, please let me know, because I'm more than willing to do so. This is our time and our show, our channel. So have a wonderful day. Thank you very, very much for viewing.